Hi, I'm Dr. Laura Hanson. I am the owner and founder of Original Development and Therapy Center in Dunwoody, Georgia. This is part of an ongoing video series. I'm reaching out to the community, parents, educators, therapists, working with children with neurobehavioral challenges. We would love to invite you by our facility to see all the wonderful services that we provide. Today we are going to talk about breastfeeding. There are many components that are very natural to a child's development that, as I have gone through histories over the 17 years of working with kids, and I have found some very interesting correlations. Breastfeeding is a natural part of child development. Women are completely designed in order to provide nourishment to their babies. Now, the amount of time in which you want to breastfeed, I believe, is a personal choice. I think it is at least beneficial to give breastfeeding 1 year duration. Many people and many different types of programs encourage women to go even longer. That has to be your personal choice, what works best for you and your family. I just want to talk about the concept of breastfeeding in hopes to encourage you that if you're questioning, should I breastfeed or shouldn't I breastfeed, that perhaps this information will help you make a decision that's right for you. Also, if you are working with a child or you have a child that has any type of neurobehavioral challenges, did you have any idea that breastfeeding could have contributed to that child's healthy development? So let's look at those pieces for today. One of the things that goes on about breastfeeding is the development of the vision system. When your baby comes into this world, it cannot see things clearly. In fact, its visual acuity, what it has the ability to see clearly, is about 2400. So if our normal visual acuity is 20/20, you can see that there's a lot of postnatal development just to visual acuity. And yes, breastfeeding contributes to normal eye movement and eye function, or it's also known as oculomotor function. When your baby comes into this world, I refer to it as those commercials from Kodak Pictures, where all of a sudden the commercial comes up and you see all these pixels. There's all these different shades and colors and hues that are then compressed together that will actually make a clear picture for you to see. That's what it's like for a child. And in the beginning, their ability to see the clearest is about 6 inches in front of them. Well, when it comes to breastfeeding, when you're bringing your baby up to your breast, that's about a 6-inch difference between mom and baby's eyes. So it's a bonding effect between mom and her baby, as well as it's part of creating the normal yolking that goes on between both eyes. Now, I'm going to make a funny face for you, so get ready for this. When a baby is breastfeeding, there is such a powerful suck going on. Sucking is part of normal development. And while it's very important to establish the rhythm of breastfeeding, which I'm going to get into in a minute, sucking is part of soothing. So it's very important to allow the child to nurse as often as the baby wants to. In fact, I often say that mom's going to feel like a human pacifier in the beginning. But what's going on is that baby is establishing supply and demand. And as I just said a moment ago, it also will go to the breast for soothing. Now, what does this have to do with the eyes? Well, I had just mentioned this very powerful suck. It's actually referred to as resistive sucking. And when this goes on, literally the baby's eyes are closed, but if you look down at your baby, you can literally see under the lid that those eyes are converging together. So those eyes are actually going through an exercise, rhythmically learning how to work together. So I promised you a funny face, and I'm not going to let it go away. This is what resistive sucking looks like. It's very powerful. The muscles around the eye are actually known as a sphincter group of muscles. You've heard of sphincter tone as it relates to the rectum and bowel function. There are different sphincter systems throughout the body, and one system literally has neurological integration to all those other systems. And that's why when you go into a clinician like myself, we can make very far-reaching connections as it relates to neurological systems and not just pieces and parts. So there's a lot of benefit to breastfeeding as it relates to visual acuity and oculomotor function. In previous videos, I actually have discussed, and will continue to discuss as time goes on, that I always find when I do a neurological assessment on these children that there is typically a component of oculomotor disruption, or those eyes are not working together properly. Now, this can happen even if you do breastfeed, but what becomes part of the history is how easy was it for you to breastfeed? How long did you breastfeed for? The interest of the baby. There's so many different reasons. Many women, just because of stressors that they may be going through, and recall that stressors can be mechanical, chemical, or emotional, will actually have a difficult time breastfeeding. They won't be able to have a good supply. When you have any amount of stress going on in your life, and again, mechanical, chemical, or emotional, that will affect your milk supply. So it's very important to try to minimize the stress that you may be going through. Now, if you're a mom right now and you come across this video and you say, that's me, I want you to take some steps that are going to help you relax. Don't give up on breastfeeding so quickly. Try to think about things that can help you relax. Put little sticky notes around your house that just say, think milk. Do whatever you can to really minimize the stress in your life so that you can have good milk supply. Now, perhaps you are a mother that's adopted a child, or for some reason you're not able to breastfeed. If you are bottle feeding, and we'll get into formula in another video, but at least move that baby from side to side. Mimic that mechanical sensation that naturally would have occurred during breastfeeding. If I'm holding my baby in my left arm, the right side of that baby is close to my body. The world is communicating with that baby on the left-hand side. So that's sensory input. And the same thing is true if I move my baby over here to my right arm. Their left side is communicating with the environment. So just moving that child back and forth, one, it's going to create balance for your own physical body as a mom, but it's going to provide balanced neurological input for your baby. Thanks for listening.